Hi, I'm David Nadel, CTO of Gearbox Solutions. Today, I'm going to give you a quick demo of how we can use the Innergy API to get our data out of Innergy and into our custom app. I'm sharing my screen so you can take a look here and see what I'm looking at. To start, we need to get an API key from Innergy. The area that we do this is down in the lower left. Once we're signed in, we can click on this and go to the settings area of our profile. Down at the bottom, we can see the API key. This is what's used to authenticate us as users who are able to pull the data out. I'm going to click the copy to clipboard button to put this into my clipboard. Now, I've already pasted this into my app, and it's going to be available. I don't want to share that on the screen here, but it is in there already. So let's say I've got a purchase order section in my custom solution, and I want to get the purchase order data from Innergy to show up here in my custom app. Right now, if I look at the page, you can see there's nothing here. It's just totally empty. So I'm going to go into my app here, and this is the index controller. This is what gets the data to show in the list. Now here we've got purchase orders. It's just an empty array. I want to change this to actually get data from Innergy to display on the screen. So I'm going to take this empty array out, and I'm going to use Laravel's HTTP client to get the data from Innergy. Now, Innergy requires that we send our API key with our request to authenticate ourselves. So I'm going to use the with header option on here and say API key and put in the API key as that header parameter. So I'm going to use my config, let's see, services, Innergy, API key. This is where I've saved it, so I'm not showing it on the screen here. But that's going to insert the API key as the header as part of that request. Now, this I need to import the, let's see here, facade here. All right, so now this is the correct HTTP client, and we're going to do a GET request to https://app.innergy.com/API. Now, which API endpoint do we actually want to use here? We can look at the Innergy API documentation, which is available at app.innergy.com/API. That'll take you to this page where they list all of the routes and the data that you get back from them. We're going to look at a purchase order on here because that's what I want to show on the screen. And there are two routes that we can get. That means we can retrieve data from this. API/purchase orders is going to return all purchase order data in the company. That's exactly what we're looking for. So let's take a look at this. This is going to show the format of the request here and the URL that we want to use here. So app.innergy.com/API/purchase orders. And we'll put that in here. /purchase orders. And we can add a query parameter. I could type that in directly here, but I'm going to use Laravel's with query parameters on this. With query parameters. And we're going to set the statuses to be pending. All right, so that's going to add that query parameter on just like it shows on here to search for the pending POs, just to make sure that we get a limited list. We're going to go app.innergy.com/API/purchase orders. Yep, that all matches up with what's on here. And this is what the response is going to look like. We're going to get an array of items back, and these are going to be things that have the data that we're looking for. So here's some sample data that they've got. We're probably going to care about the PO number and the vendor, and maybe the data was created. We can also scroll down if we want to get some more information. We can scroll down further on the page, down to the bottom, and see the actual schema. Scroll quite a bit down here for purchase orders. Here it is. And so this is what the purchase order model is. It's going to have an ID, which is going to be a string. It's going to be a UUID. It's going to have a number, which is going to be a string. It's possible for this to be empty. So this tells us the information about the fields and what we're going to want to collect, what we're going to get back, and give us some information about what might be available for us to display. So let's take a look at this. So this is going to get us a response. I'm going to turn this into some data by saying response to JSON, read the JSON out of this here. And the part that we actually going to care about is the purchase orders, which, like we saw from the request up here, this is going to be in an array with a key of items. So I really just want to get the data items object from this. This is our response. There we go. All right, so we're going to get the response, treat it as a JSON response, get a data object from that, and we're just going to get the items key. And then I'm going to send this to the front end. I'm going to send just the purchase order array to the front end so that I can display that on the front end. Now, here, let's reload this. This should actually make the request now out to Innergy to get our purchase order data back. And here it is. We saw before that was just an empty list, but now we're actually getting the data back. I've already set up the front end to look at the vendor name and the statuses, and the data was created and the purchase order number. Everything's here. It's that simple. Just get your API key. You can do it in 3 lines of code and get the data integrated into your app. Now that I've got it here, I could store it in a database or display it in other parts of the system as well. So that's it. Just a quick demo of how you can use the Innergy API to get that data into your custom app. Thanks a lot. And remember to contact Gearbox Solutions if you're interested in having custom app development to support your construction or engineering business. Thanks. Bye.